Mujahid sleeps the sleep of a very sick baby. He's just 5 days old. Carried in the protective arms of his sister, the newborn is unaware of his wretched fate. He is born a Rohingya, a people despised and persecuted. His mother Rabia is sick too, exhausted after giving birth and then walking without resting for 5 days. Rabia is one of the tens of thousands of Rohingya on the move, all fleeing from a regime that is seemingly bent on the annihilation of their people. It's an endless line of misery. The slaughter is being called a genocide. Fatima Khatoon lost 4 sons on the arduous journey through the mountains. 2 boys, 10 and 5 years old, were shot dead by army soldiers. Their little brothers, just toddlers, died from starvation. Fatima's youngest surviving child is clearly very ill. Her disease-ravaged skin and deep cuts need urgent medical treatment. But Fatima can't walk any faster.
The exodus began at the end of August, but we're still seeing thousands of Rohingya fleeing across the border from Myanmar into Bangladesh. And each one brings with him or her another tale of sheer barbarity and unbelievable horror.
The aim is to get to a camp, to join the hundreds of thousands of Rohingya who have made it this far. We're a few miles from the Bangladesh-Myanmar border. This is a makeshift camp. The tarpaulins and poles throwing up a grim, temporary settlement for the people that nobody wants. The ground, still sodden from the monsoon rains, is turning into a swamp, stirred by the endless march of tired, broken feet. I meet Tayaba Khatoon Nurathan. She's 4 months pregnant with her first child.
2 days later. Okay, 2 din baad ke. Okay.
Tayaba tells me she trekked for 12 days over hills and through jungles to get here. She fled her village in Myanmar as it was being torched by the soldiers. Her brother was shot in the face, killed as he tried to protect the family. They left his body behind.
There's no way for me to know for sure if the people I've spoken to are telling me the truth, and that's because the military in Myanmar won't allow independent observers into Rakhine. But what I do know is that these people are running from something.
The Naf River divides Myanmar from Bangladesh, a watery escape route from the horrors in Rakhine State, a land where the Rohingya have lived for generations. But now Rohingya like Hamid Hussein face a grim reality: stay and be butchered or flee. Hundreds of thousands have left, and many, many more follow behind. All along this border, Rohingya villages are being razed to the ground. Smoke can still be seen rising above the tree line. We saw it ourselves.
Beginning time,
smoke.
Yeah. Then last time, you can see.
Mohammed Saeem has witnessed the fires too.
Yeah, you can see.
And you took these pictures?
Yeah.
This is what the UN calls textbook ethnic cleansing. Nurul Kalima's feet are scorched from the fires that destroyed her village. Suffering the pain, she's walked for days on her burnt legs to cross the border. but at least she has finally made it into Bangladesh. Across the stream from this border guard's gun are thousands of Rohingya refugees willing to risk their lives to get across. They're caught between a country that wants them out and one that doesn't want them in.
I'm standing in what is effectively no man's land. This is a buffer zone that separates Bangladesh, it's just over there where those people are, from its neighbour Myanmar, across the creek and beyond the brow of that hill. Stuck between the two are tens of thousands of Rohingya, and I have nowhere to go.
Only children are allowed to cross to fetch clean drinking water. We're given permission to speak to Hussein Ahmed. He's been in this camp with his family for 9 days, living on handouts. He tells me his village is about 30 miles away inside Myanmar, but he was forced to flee with his family when soldiers came. Suddenly, there's a commotion. A warning is shouted. Myanmar army soldiers have been sighted. The platoon is 90 strong, heavily armed, with assault rifles and belt-fed machine guns. It's tense. These could be the same soldiers accused of raping and slaughtering Rohingyas and burning down their villages. They're just meters apart. A border guard tells me the Myanmar soldiers are laying landmines. He points us towards proof.
He was on the duty on the other side when the mine was being laid. They were getting messages every point. Their soldiers were talking to the walkie-talkie that they are laying mines over the fence. They saw it actually.
This village elder shows me an extremely distressing video of a Rohingya woman. She's had both her legs blown off by a landmine. The woman is then carried across the creek to waiting doctors from the charity Médecins Sans Frontières. They happen to be here purely by chance. It's why she survived.
They're tying a tourniquet on her. So this happened across in the while she was making her way from her village.
Her village to enter from her village to enter the no man's land.
These Rohingya will probably never escape their nightmare. But if they do, there is no guarantee that they will find food and shelter in Bangladesh. This is the sound of hunger. Newly arrived Rohingya refugees, mostly women with babies or young children. Many have seen their husbands slaughtered in Myanmar by soldiers. Murtzia is just 2 days old. She's a child of the conflict. Her mother, Zura Khatun, gave birth to her daughter on the road as she fled to safety. Zura tells me she's had no help, no aid or medical care for her baby. This is what starvation does. It makes people desperate. In the melee, we see Shakeen. Her grandson does his best to protect the frail old woman, but all hell is breaking loose. She can barely stand unaided, 80 years old and exhausted by her long, difficult journey across the border. She struggles to speak but manages to tell me she saw her nephew killed and her home torched.
Killed.
Keeping order is impossible.
We've been here for a number of days now, and we've yet to see any big international aid organizations working here on the ground. I'm not saying they're not here, we just haven't seen any. So these people are totally dependent on local charities. Either that, or they'll just go hungry.
So it's left up to volunteers like Muhammad, who have no experience of dealing with a crisis of this enormity.
What do you want the international community to do?
We want to ask you, the international committee like NGO, everybody come here and help them. Because of nobody help them, they are very hungry and they are very helpless. So we request the NGOs people come here to and help them.
These people have been reduced to begging, fighting for scraps. The two sides look exactly the same trees, the same paddy fields. There is no difference. But the people who live here are different. And it's this which has led to a hatred so deep that the Rohingya have been driven from their homes and their land, probably never to return.